Hey there poetry pals, welcome back to another video. My name's Josie Alford. I did a master's degree in creative writing so you don't have to. My debut poetry collection is coming out next month, and this week I'll be showing you how to submit your poetry collection for publication. This video is part of a series on my publishing journey. So far I have covered writing a collection, editing it, designing your front cover, amongst other things. So if you haven't watched those, go back and watch them. And this video is for poets who have done those steps and are now looking to submit their collections for publishers. It is worth saying that videos on self-publishing are coming, but this video is focused on submitting to publishers. So in this video, I will cover how to choose a publisher, what to research, submission guidelines, cover letters and supporting documents, as well as my top tips for the whole process. But before we go any further, please make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications. Pre-orders for my book and tickets for the live stream of my book launch are available now, and all the links are in the description. So before you submit to a publisher, you need to choose which publishers you're going to submit to. If you're watching this thinking, Josie, why not apply to all of the poetry publishers that I know? Mainly because submitting your collection and tailoring your application to each publisher takes a lot of work and a lot of time. You're better off working smarter, not harder, and picking publishers that are more in line with your topic or style and therefore more likely to publish you. The goal here is to curate a list of publishers who you would like to be published by. The first step is to read as widely as possible. This step comes up in almost everything to improve your writing. The reason this is relevant is when you find poets you love whose style and/or content is similar to yours, you can pick up their book and see who published their work and then add those publishers to your list. If you consume more of your poetry online, the same rule applies. If you have poets that you love and they have books out, add their publisher to your list. Another place to find publishers is through Submittable. Submittable is an online submission portal and publishers can put their publishing opportunities live on there. It's also worth checking out publishing opportunities on websites like Angela T. Carr's blog. I will link to that and a couple of more in the places down below. However, it is worth saying that most of my knowledge of places to look is UK based. So if you're watching this from outside of the UK and you know of useful resources in your country, make sure you comment them down below and I will add them to the description and organise the suggestions by country. Once you have your list, it's time to research. This will help narrow down your list to save you to submitting to opportunities that aren't relevant to you. So, when you're researching your list of publishers, these are the things you want to find out. Who else have they published? Read them. Do they match your style and content? How many debut poets do they publish? If lots, that's helpful for you if you're a publishing newbie as well. Of their published collections, how many of the poems were published in journals, magazines, and anthologies? To find this out, all you have to do is check their acknowledgements page. It's relevant because it will show you how much stock a publisher puts behind your poems being published and your publishing history. From this, you should be able to narrow down your list. If a publisher is unlikely to publish you, maybe because they're pretty big and they don't often publish debut poetry collections, you can take them off your list. However, if they are a dream publisher of yours, there's no reason not to give it a go. Just don't get your hopes up too high. Generally, smaller and indie publishers are more likely to publish new poets. And the last step you want to do as part of the research phase is to find out the submission dates or windows and add them to your calendar. Then, depending on your workload, you want to give yourself between 2 to 6 weeks before the deadline to start working on your submission. This is given that you have already written the collection. If you haven't already written the collection, then obviously you need to give yourself longer. So, the deadline's a few weeks away. The first thing you want to do is read the submission guidelines in detail. You don't want your collection to be rejected because you didn't follow the details. I like to make myself a list of points that I tick off while I put my submission together, kind of like a shopping list. The things that you want to look out for are: how many poems? Do they want the full collection? What do they consider to be a full collection? Do they only want 20 pages of your best stuff? If you're only being asked for a small amount of poems, pick your hit. Also, do you have enough poems to fill the expectations of what makes a collection or pamphlet? If not, you need to get back to writing. The next thing to look out for is what format do they want your collection in? Do they want it in a Word document or a PDF? Is there a particular font or size? This is really easy to match up with what they want, so just make sure you get it right. If they don't specify what they want or what they're looking for, then keep it simple. Font-wise, stick to something common like Times New Roman or Arial. Personally, I'm a serif fan, so I'd probably go Times New Roman. Keep it size 12, with each poem starting on a new page. Your pages should probably be numbered as well. Then you need to look into what method they want you to submit it. Is it via Submittable, via email? One of the people I submitted to, you had to submit via post. Post! This is important to know because you'll need to set up an account for Submittable or get access to a printer depending on what they're asking for. The next thing to look into is what letters and supporting documents do they want from you. They might just want something super simple like a cover letter. They might specify information that they want you to include in your cover letter. I know some small presses ask for your favourite books that they have published in the past, or they might ask you for additional supporting documents. Verve Poetry Press, my publisher, asked for a supporting statement that included a marketing plan. Small indie presses normally have very small teams and budgets, which means they can only offer basic marketing support. They often rely on their writers to promote and sell their own work as well. This is something to bear in mind when choosing your publisher too. Are you willing to put the work in yourself? So, let's run through the other documents and how you might get yours up to scratch. First of all, the cover letter. I have made a video on how to write a cover letter, and I'll make it pop up here and link it in the description. Admittedly, it is about submitting individual poems for publications in magazines, but the same rules apply. So go watch that for more detail, but for a brief recap, here is what you want to include as standard in your cover letter. Your biography, why you want to publish with them, keep this to one sentence. About your book, basically the blurb. Your publishing and or performance history. Those are the basic things you need to include. Keep it brief, to the point. Next up, the supporting document. For this, it really depends on what information they are asking from you. Having said that, as with any essay-based question for something like a funding bid or a job application, there are a couple of things that you can bear in mind. Answer the questions or meet the points they ask you for. When you read the question of what they want you to include in your supporting document, once you've written your supporting document, read back through it and make sure you have ticked off everything they're asking you for. Next up, be specific. Go into detail, but also keep to the point. Don't give loads of detail about irrelevant information. Stick to when they're asking you and be specific about it. Next, use the submission guidelines to understand what they are looking for and give it to them. So once you have your documents together, you are ready to submit to your collection. To sum up, here are my top tips for submitting your collection. Read and read widely. You want to submit up to a publisher? Read a few of their books. Add submission dates to your calendar. Simultaneous submissions are generally acceptable for collections, so throw your collection out there and throw it out widely but relevantly. Give yourself more time than you think. Getting your stuff together takes a long time, so give yourself more time than you think. Also, write up a standard cover letter with your bio, publishing history and book description that you can tweak for each publisher. Next up, get someone to read your submission to sense check and proofread. There is nothing more embarrassing than submitting your collection, trying to sell yourself as a wordsmith, and then having a typo in the cover letter. Finally, don't get yourself down with rejections. They are inevitable, so roll with it. My collection was actually rejected 5 times before Verve said yes. And one of those times was by Verve. Remember, you've got this, so go for it. So that's it for this week's video. Let me know in the comments if you found it useful. It warms my soul. Positive comments warm my soul. Also, drop any questions down there as well. Please subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications for weekly videos on all things poetry and book nerdery. My debut poetry collection, Faulty Manufacturing, is available for pre-order now. My book launch is on the 3rd of March at 7:30 UK time, and you can buy tickets to the live stream. The links to do both are in the description down below. You can keep up to date by following me on social media. I am at Josie Alford Poet on all the things. And you can support me with your cash by buying me a coffee or joining me on Patreon. The links to do both are in the description down below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all next week. Bye.